This movie probably would have been a little boring if that's all Indiana Jones knew how to ask. He just landed and constantly asked people where the bathroom was.
It's a safe bet.
Indiana Jones and the Throne of Kings. Welcome to Tairimo Boys Podcast. I'm your host, Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who regularly jumps out of planes with inflatable rafts. It's Jeremy.
Hold on to your potatoes.
Your potatoes are going to end up mashed, Jeremy. With me in third chair is the boy who always wanted to become a secret agent, but settled on an archaeologist instead. It's Ryan.
What's up, homies?
Interject today, I see.
Wow, this might be the most energy right out the gate I've heard from you, Ryan.
I wonder why.
The answer to that is simple. We're reviewing one of Ryan's favorite movies.
This isn't just one of my favorite movies. This is my origin story.
Come on, spill the beans.
This is the movie that made me want to be an archaeologist. This is the movie that completely ruined my life.
I love it. We get a backstory.
Was this the first Indiana Jones you saw?
Yep. Yep. My brother taped it when ABC was still doing, airing like Sunday night ABC movies of the week where they would air edited versions of your favorite movies, like
Oh,
Total Recall and RoboCop. And one of them was Indiana Jones, and he taped it. I didn't watch it Sunday, but I came home from school that Monday. I popped in the VCR because my brother was cool and I wanted to see what this was all about. And that was it.
and now here you are.
Yep. I haven't rescued any child slaves though, so I feel like a failure.
Now, have you eaten some exotic cuisines like jelly monkey brains and bugs?
No. But I have had chicken tikka masala.
Okay, I'd consider that exotic.
What the hell's a
At least
tikka
for my family.
masala?
Indian food.
Okay. Jeremy, I know you haven't had much experience with the Indiana Jones franchise, but wasn't Temple of Doom also your first?
Uh, no, Raiders was my first.
No. Actually, now that I think about it, weren't you like watching Temple of Doom like some bar or something?
I have on and off over the years, but I do remember seeing this one as a child. My father used to watch these like, as I mentioned before, we had like one TV room that we called the rec room, and like I would run back there to like play games on the computer because it was our only computer was near that TV, and my dad was like always watching Indiana Jones, the original Indiana Jones trilogy, the Star Wars trilogy, or MASH. So that's how I watched most of the Indiana Jones.
Wait, the Indiana Jones trilogy, Star Wars, or MASH?
Yes.
So he was either like me or my grandfather.
Yeah. He was a creature of habit, though. It was always the same movies. You could sprinkle in Gladiator and Saving Private Ryan once in a while, but that was it.
So it seems like everyone's got a bit of a pass to this movie. Now, Ryan, here's the major question. Do you remember when this used to be the worst Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah, yes, I do. I wonder
Oh,
how I would have reacted had I seen Raiders first.
that's an interesting question. I remember as a kid, I absolutely hated Temple of Doom because it was so dark.
Kind of
And
scary for a kid, to be
yeah,
honest. That was
we're,
my
we're
thought on it.
we're gonna be getting more into that because if you're unaware, this movie's intentionally dark on purpose because Spielberg had recently broken up with his girlfriend and Lucas was going through a divorce and they were both kind of pissed off at the world and they ended up making Temple of Doom as dark as it was. I remember my real adult experience with Indiana Jones. One day when I was in college, I went and bought the trilogy and spent all day watching them. I think it was like 2 a.m. I realized like, oh crap, I didn't know how late it was. And I remember like Temple of Doom, the tone on it is just completely different from the other two.
It sure is.
What format was it? DVD?
Yeah, it was DVD.
I still have the original trilogy on VHS.
Yeah, I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember you had at least Temple of Doom on VHS that they were selling at McDonald's or something.
I know we had all three movies on VHS as a kid.
Yeah, I think they were selling all of them at McDonald's, and I borrowed. I know I borrowed some from you.
I know
I don't know why I didn't have my own copies.
you had your own copies because I remember.
Wait, so you mean I could have gotten chicken nuggies and
Yeah.
VHS copies of Indiana Jones?
Yep.
How did I miss this?
Could have gotten chicken nuggies and monkey brains.
And monkey brains. It's the monkey brain dipping sauce for the chicken nuggies.
All right, we'll
Comes
talk.
complete with bug chips.
Well, we'll talk more about that. So, Jeremy, what are your first thoughts on the movie?
About as dark as an Indiana Jones movie could get. Fond memories as a child. Like I said, I used to watch it with my father on and off. And as you mentioned, Cody, I've seen it played in dive bars before, so I've seen it quite a few times over the years. Rewatching again is always a blessed experience, even if it was at one time the worst Indiana Jones movie.
Ryan, first thoughts?
Third greatest movie of all time.
Okay. We all know how your greatest movies of all time is.
I don't know, with the energy behind that one, I'm going to say that's up there. That's got to be top five.
You know, I always do the like, this is my top five movies, whatever. This is the third greatest movie of all time. I'm not going to tell you what the second one is, but to paraphrase Deadpool, it rhymes with vast crusade.
As for me, like I said, this used to be the worst Indiana Jones movie. Whenever I was watching it this time, it felt completely different because we live in a post Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny world. As soon as I put this on, I was like, oh boy, I'm not watching the worst Indiana Jones movie. And while it's got a completely different tone from like every other Indiana Jones movie, still better than the recent turds.
With that being said, very important question, boys. Would you still consider it a bad movie?
No,
I know Ryan's answer right out the gate.
Absolutely not.
it may have a darker tone, but it's still a really good movie, especially in a post Dial of Destiny Kingdom world, like I said.
Seriously, what you said, Cody, it puts it into perspective. We used to view this as the worst one. Now it's like, I would rather watch this a million times over Dial of Destiny.
And just rewatching it, like all the problems that people have with the movie, yeah, they're bad, but they're not as bad as the later Indiana Jones movies. Like Willie's annoying. Short round, he
Yes.
can be a little bit annoying, but
He's,
let's start with short round. Ryan, what are your thoughts on short round?
he's adorable. He's adorable. He's fun.
Hold on,
He's
whoa.
Tairimo Boy certified fun.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Made my dad laugh, I remember. Has a good memory. I would say I wish I had a sidekick like him, but I really don't.
He was certainly an interesting character. When he was first introduced, I always get like the he's annoying kind of vibes, but he quickly grows on you. I really wish that we would have at least seen him in Dial of Destiny. Do you know?
Instead, you got discount short round.
Yeah, I think we made that joke.
I think so.
Jeremy, you got anything to add on him?
Short Round's awesome. I mean, I can see where people are being say he's a little bit annoying at times, but he adds to the movie. He's a value add for sure. He's a great character, and he kicks ass. Like you actually literally see him kick ass.
It's usually
It's
just
like a
like
little 6-year-old
yeah,
beating
little
people up.
kids slapping people, and it's not till he like grabs a torch or something that he could actually do something. It's realistic. I'll give him that.
Overall, great character.
Yep. Of course, we addressed short round, so now it's time to address the elephant in the room.
Pun intended.
No. Well, maybe I don't know.
We'll say pun intended.
Willie.
Oh boy.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Willie?
Okay. I understand everybody thinks she's annoying. She does scream an awful lot in this film. She's definitely not as good as Marion from Raiders, who is a quote, strong female character done correctly. That being said, I do like that they went a different route for this one. Again, we should add a disclaimer. I'm very biased when it comes to this movie.
Well, I know where you're coming from, Ryan, and I agree. Like they went and did something completely different with Willie, and is she annoying? Definitely, and I wish they would toned it down at least a little bit. But I mean, we got what we got, and she was literally humping Spielberg.
Lady only here because he humping director.
I kind of said that throughout the movie. It's a Family Guy
Makes
skit,
sense.
if anyone's not aware. Jeremy,
Wet t-shirt.
okay.
Other than that,
Do you want to do Boo Bonanza, Jeremy?
not quite. I didn't feel it wasn't the same. Oh, okay. Let's do Boop Bonanza.
Okay. It's Boo Bonanza! Ryan, what'd you think of those
Yay!
boobs?
They were, you know what? I would call them the perfect Aryan boobs.
Perfect Aryan boobs.
Yeah.
I would say we were working with a great pair. What did you say, Cody?
I was less focused on the boobs and more focused on all the screaming.
Okay, the screaming is very distracting, but I am a very simple man. I see the boobs, I look at boobs.
Fair enough. That was another boob bonanza.
All right, thank you. I had to do that. With that being said, and the boob bonanza out of the way, the screaming was, yes, too much, but as you boys already said it, like her character, I am glad as well they went with that little more of a damsel in distress for this one.
I will say this: the person whose boobs I was most jealous of in this movie, Harrison Ford's. He got jacked for this movie. You know, in 1984, jacked.
That was yeah, his chesticles were 1984 jacked.
Yeah, he did that on purpose because he knew he was gonna be mostly shirtless in the movie, so he did a bunch of like exercise routines and stuff.
Shouldn't have
Harrison
been an
Ford's a
archaeologist. I
stud.
should have been an actor.
Yeah, good luck getting into that. All right, we're a little bit in, so it's really time to start the podcast.
Yeah.
um, so for anyone unaware, Temple of Doom, it's 118 minutes, so about 2 hours. The budget on it is 28 million. It made 333 million in the box office, so it was a complete smash hit. That 28 million budget, that really surprised me whenever I saw it. Basic summary of the movie is, if you're unaware, Temple of Doom is a prequel to the Indiana Jones franchise where Indy, after he has a little kerfluffle in Shanghai, he ends up crashing in India where he deals with an evil Kali cult, I guess would be the thing. And he's basically got to save the magical, recover the magical Shakira stones. Is that what they're called, Ryan?
Shankara Stones.
Shankara, there we go, stones, in order to save the local village whose kids have all been kidnapped and being used for child slavery. So I'd like to start off addressing the opening scene of this movie. If you boys remember, whenever we discussed Raiders of the Lost Ark, we discussed that Spielberg and Lucas kind of had like a James Bond type vibe originally for Indiana Jones, where women wanted him, and they cut some scenes out of the first movie because of that. Whenever we get to Temple of Doom, the opening scene is pretty much James Bond.
Oh, like it also just so happens to also be one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's a really good scene. I
There's a little cameo. I'll let you guys guess it. There's a little cameo that had me nerdgasm a little bit.
In
No,
the
I guess this
when they get on the plane,
before the
right,
plane.
yeah,
right before they
I
get on the
know,
plane.
I know what you're going for. It's not just that one. Okay, so two nerdgasms actually, back to back. It was
yeah.
just before that.
So yeah, it's Dan Aykroyd. He wanted to be in
Yep,
an
that's one of
Indiana
them
Jones movie, and they gave him this tiny little role.
with like 5 lines.
I can't
So
really.
yes, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah,
Any other guesses?
no, I've got nothing.
Ryan, I think you got it.
At
So
what
let's hear it.
point?
When they walk, when they're out the bar, and you
When
see
they're
the bar
what?
from the outside. When you see the bar from the
Oh, you're
outside.
talking about how it's Club Obi-Wan.
Yep. Second nerdgasm.
Yep.
Yeah, they used a couple Star Wars references throughout the movie.
I loved every minute of it. But
But
really, the first scene does start off strong, doesn't it?
yeah, it starts off like right in the action of Indy doing the whole James Bond thing, but it being an Indiana Jones movie, shit quickly gets turned down on its ass whenever he just drinks the poison and has to go through a huge kind of brawl in order to get the antidote for it.
A classic indie brawl
Fake punches and all.
with big windups.
I do love the scene where like one of the Chinese gangsters pulls out a Tommy gun and shooting at him, and Indy's like running behind like a giant gong.
As long as you're cutting things, remember that one part where he punched a woman?
Oh man,
I noticed that specifically. I was laughing. I was like, wow, just completely out of nowhere.
straight out of left field.
But,
Yeah, can't do that anymore.
yeah, I just love how that scene ends where and he's like, so long, whatever the guy's name is, and then
Lao She?
Lao She, yeah, and he's like, so long, Dr. Jones, and then Indy's like closing the plane door. It's got his like name on the airplane. The pilots are like nodding to their boss. Now, it was your fun fact, and I've already mentioned the raft. If you couldn't guess, you're not surviving that in real life.
Negative.
The Mythbusters tested that, and I think they tested it 3 times, and each time it was led to catastrophic deaths. So that was certainly busted.
But hey, that's Hollywood, baby.
All right, Rachel Zegler.
Now, here's your little question for you boys. Remember the scene where, like, it happens a little afterwards, where they're riding the elephants and going to, they're heading to the Indian palace. Whenever you have that scene where Willie kept running into all the animals, did you get the feeling like Pee Wee's Big Adventure with that scene where he puts on like the night vision goggles?
That's why I was laughing so hard during the scene. Same vibes.
There was no fake animals this time.
Ah, I forgot about Pee Wee. That's a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, go watch the Pee Wee review we did if you haven't seen it yet.
Yep, it was certainly a good one. And something else I noticed in this movie, and you see it a little bit in the other movies, like Indy is like really well versed. As soon as he figures out that they've crashed in India, like he knows the local language, he knows the local customs. He speaks like maybe four languages in this movie. Yeah, it's Chinese, the local language. It might be Hindi, and he speaks actually. Short Round probably knows Chinese, but that's just it shows you like how well versed like India is.
Well established gentlemen.
Ryan, are you that well versed?
If those languages are German, French, and 1 year of Spanish, yes.
So you know enough to ask where the bathroom is.
Yeah. Yeah. This movie probably would have been a little boring if that's all Indiana Jones knew how to ask. He just landed and constantly asked people where the bathroom was.
It's a safe bet.
Indiana Jones and the Throne of Kings. And one of you boys already I think it was Jeremy mentioned it. So we've got to talk about the feast scene.
Oh yes.
If you're unaware, Temple of Doom is banned in India because they consider it a racist movie. Nowadays, people consider the feast scene extremely racist. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on it?
Not the type of food I would eat, and I'm not a picky eater.
Ryan?
Apparently, I don't remember when the interview was, but apparently Spielberg came out and he said that that scene was supposed to be satire on the way Americans see Indian culture. And you know, I can understand people being like, he's just trying to cover his ass. But I kind of think it is satire gone bad because I can't imagine this Jewish man who has faced discrimination in his own life was like, they eat like what? Snakes and spiders, right?
And eyeballs.
Eyeballs.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head.
yeah. I don't think it's that bad of a scene. There's probably people out there that do eat that kind of stuff, but I don't think it's a reflection on the entirety of Indian culture. And as someone who's participated in a bunch of different Indian festivals, especially their whole festival of lights, they don't eat anything like that.
Hell, I ate all that stuff when I was in college.
Butt snacks.
I couldn't even afford ramen.
No ramen, sad day. Not even bologna?
Nope.
Oof. Bugs it is.
I think that scene's pretty much the turning point in the movie because after that, that's whenever the movie gets dark. That's where you get the human sacrifice and child slavery. And I know I've criticized the Indiana Jones franchise on this before. Indiana Jones, he's constantly like, oh, I don't believe in all this spiritual stuff and mysticism and stuff. In this movie, he literally gets brainwashed. There's a voodoo doll, and he knows the damn Chikara stones are somehow magical. Yeah, later on, he doesn't believe in that stuff. Please.
Yeah, I
Somebody
can see where you come from.
did not have someone on set keeping track of canon.
Where's the canon checker?
I mean, that's Lucas Spielberg.
Don't check their own canon sometimes.
Jeremy, the main villain in this movie, Molaram, what was your opinion on him?
That was the God guy.
That was
Like
the
the guy that could rip
creepy
out hearts.
skull head guy.
He was creepy as hell, but I liked him. Like he played the cult part right. I thought he did awesome.
When I was a kid, he intimidated the hell out of me with that creepy, evil smile he'd do randomly. I liked him as a villain.
Do you get flashbacks, Ryan, watching this?
Well, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit triggered, especially when he rips out the heart of the sacrifice. Definitely a little
Yeah,
triggered.
he enjoyed that.
Oh, he a little too much.
I think he's kind of a bland villain. They don't introduce him till later on in the movie, and they don't do very much, if any, character development on him. But even though he's a bland villain, the guy knew how to play the role of a villain. And I know Spielberg
I,
said that he was his favorite villain of the franchise.
I agree with you. There's not a lot of meat to that villain, but
There's not, but I still feel like it works well because
yeah.
how much? I mean, they didn't give a whole lot of information about the cult in general. I mean, they went in a little bit to the history of it, but not a whole lot. So I don't know. I think it still fit.
It was really more of a kind of like a power play type thing. I mean, they had magic on their side, and I don't know what they would have done once they had all five of the stones. It wasn't like the main plan to kick the British out of India.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There you go. All they had to do was wait and do nothing, and they would have accomplished their goal.
Would have found them stones.
Hear me out. Instead of child slavery, why don't we just wait a few years? No.
Gandhi didn't need all those stones and child labor. Now, Brian, you probably know this. Jeremy, I don't know about you, but if you're unaware, do you remember the main brawler henchman?
Yes.
That was the German mechanic that Indy fought, the brawler mechanic from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but he was wearing brown
Oh my god.
face.
I can see it now. Holy shit. I can definitely see it.
Apparently, he was also in Last Crusade too, but they kind of cut his role out of the movie. That was supposed to be like
Yep.
a running joke.
That's
But
hilarious.
here's just some more fun facts. The scene where Indy's fighting that assassin in his bedroom, Harrison Ford ended up hurting a disc in his spine, so he had to get surgery, and a lot of the pain that Indy's in and throughout the movie, that's Ford still in an actual pain from that injury. But
He
even
plays well through the pain, doesn't he?
well, there was a stuntman that looked exactly like Harrison Ford that did all the stunts. Like for example, the scene where he's fighting the brawler guy on the conveyor belt with the rocks and the spinning roller thing.
Hmm.
That nothing was really scripted in there, and Spielberg and Lucas basically told Harrison Ford, the stuntman, and Pat Roach, I think is his name, yeah, just play around at all this stuff and make a scene, and they did.
Indeed, they did.
And of course, that scene leads to the infamous minecart chase. Ryan, give your thoughts on the minecarts.
Very hard on the Super Nintendo video game. I thought it was also Tairimo Boys certified fun. A couple of good gags, lots of good banter, culminating in an unrealistic scene where Indiana Jones uses his feet as the brakes.
There's some elements
That hurt
of
me watching.
Yeah, there's some elements that really didn't hold up, especially the point where they're stretching short round. You could tell that's a
Yeah.
damn dummy. They ended up using miniatures for a lot of it too. The uh, the effects just don't hold up, but at the time they would have been great. But even so, it's still not a bad scene. And there's also
Told me
the
as a
infinite
kid.
ammo too.
Yeah.
At one point, I started counting rounds. It's like, yeah, these guys are reloading.
The Thuggies have Game Genie too for Nintendo.
That scene was fun as hell. It reminds me of Donkey Kong when you go through those mine cart levels, the
That,
unrealistic jumps.
that
That's what it reminded me of.
that's probably where they got the inspiration for it. But you know what's really fun? Soon afterwards, that you got that scene where the two Dougie cultists pull scimitars out on Indy, and he goes to reach for his gun, and his gun's missing. So it's like a
That's classic
callback
Indy.
to yeah, callback to Raiders when he pulls out and shoots that guy with the scimitar.
Yep. It's a callback to a movie that's a sequel.
Mind blown.
And of course, it leads to the infamous bridge scene. I gotta say, every time I see that scene with Indy with the sword on the bridge, it always gets me on the edge of my seat. Because I mean, I know what's gonna happen, but the stakes of it are just extremely high. Indy should not have escaped that, but he figures out a way to do it.
When he holds the sword in the air, ready to chop the rope, as the thuggies are closing in on him, gives me the freaking chills every time.
Agreed. All right, Jeremy, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the boys in action.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, Jeremy, if you were in this movie, where would you die?
Oh, Cody, you know where I would die. I'd be
I,
in the fucking bar and I'd take a stray bullet.
I know. Ryan, you got anything different or?
Yeah, no, not really. I was gonna flatter myself and say that the poison would take me, but no, I'd get a stray bullet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say the poison would take me. That someone would probably stepped on the vial and it got destroyed, and
Yeah.
then the poison would have taken me. We wouldn't make it that far in this movie.
No.
No, not at all. Not at all. Cody, you knew what I was gonna say too.
I knew we were all gonna say the bar.
We didn't make it far. We didn't make it far at all.
Maybe Ryan got lucky and made it to the jumping out of the plane scene, but no. Looks like it's the bar.
Where I planned on dying anyway. Go out in a blaze of glory and whiskey.
Yeah, if it wasn't the bar, it would definitely be the plane jump because I would have been like, "Don't worry, I've seen this in a movie."
I probably would have tried landing it and died in a fiery wreck.
Yeah, I still didn't make it that far. Still died in the far.
Or the pilots would have just stuck a knife in me while I slept. All right, Jeremy, I'm past Top Gun to you.
Okay. If you guys had to pick, this might be hard. One favorite scene. What is it?
It's the bar scene. I mean,
Our scene.
we pretty much covered it.
Okay. Ryan, same for you.
Does the entire 118-minute runtime count as one scene?
No.
Yeah, damn it. It's the bar scene for me too. In a close second, I liked a lot of stuff that happened as they were escaping the Thuggy Temple. A lot of that stuff was fun. There was a lot of great scenes there. But yeah, nothing beats the bar for me. That's all I got.
Ryan, best Top Gun to you.
What did you think of the scene? I don't think we covered it, where he and Short Round are about to be crushed to the spikes. They have to call Willie to free him.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, we did not discuss that. That's always an interesting scene for me because I remember in college when I was watching it, I was like, you should try probably jamming something in like the wheels of that. And that's what Indy eventually does. He's trying to jam skulls in that. But that scene is like so tense because Willie's being a dumb bitch and I would have
Like
been
she does in
yelling
this
that
movie.
like, dude, reach your hand in there, you dumb bitch. We're about to die.
I do love how much he yells at her in that. That scene is intense for many reasons. It's impending doom. If Willie wasn't there, that would have been the end of Dr. Jones, the short round.
That it just encapsulates like peril. That scene. They're relying on someone who isn't reliable to save them.
But god damn it, does she face those bugs? You know what? Speaking of the bugs, all right, I'm gonna go back to this. We're gonna go back to the dinner scene. I throw down $500 on the table. You guys gotta eat monkey
No,
brains.
no.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, $700. You eat one of those giant bugs.
No, stop asking these questions.
They're great questions.
You're gonna really have to up the ante to about $1 million, and I'd probably eat some of that shit then and still vomit afterwards.
Fuck no, I'll eat a bug for $700. Jesus
No,
Christ.
well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, now you know. I'm poor shit.
I want to say I'd do it, but just to be cool. But I mean, I'm a picky eater.
I want to fit in, guys.
It's not cool, Ryan. It's not cool. Hey, Ryan, you got anything else?
Let's see. Other parts of the movie. Oh, what'd you think of the heart ripping? Everybody make of the heart ripping scene.
PTSD. Scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yep, I was getting ready to say that. It scared the shit out of me, but nowadays you can see it's kind of fake, and I mean that it's some of the mysticism that shouldn't be possible that Indy
Somehow doesn't believe later.
doesn't believe. That's really the scene that
Saw.
shows that they've got like some magical powers or something.
Saw the edited version. They cut right before his hand goes through him. And later on, I think it was Cody's copy of, or it was my copy of Temple of Doom. I watched the whole thing. I was like, cool.
He's holding a heart. The heart's on fire.
Whenever you said that the ABC version was censored, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, it's probably the heart scene. That's really censored.
Hey, it's a dark as hell scene. The sacrifice. The sacrifice's heart gets ripped out and burnt to a crisp.
Anything else, Ryan?
Did we cover the camp scene where they're camping for the night?
We talked a little bit
Yeah.
about the animals, but
Yeah.
you got anything in particular?
No. Say, going through the Rolodex in my mind of scenes.
This is your third favorite movie, after all.
Uh-huh.
Ryan just wants to keep talking about it.
Dalsim from Street Fighter the movie's in it. That's just a fun fact. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Ryan doesn't want this one to end. I can understand.
Well, we're not done yet because we're going to be playing a little bit of philosophy with the scale. So we have our Indiana Jones scale. If you boys haven't realized, it's been about a year since Dial of Destiny came out. So before we scale it, Ryan, what do you think's the worst Indiana Jones movie now? Is it Dial of Destiny or is it Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Jeremy, you want to go first?
Dial. 100% dial.
You know
What do you boys feel?
something? I honestly can't decide. I went back, like I think I said it in the Dial of Destiny review. I went back and watched Crystal Skull, and there were things that I warmed up to, but there were things in Dial of Destiny I also warmed up to. Both were not great, but man, yeah, that's a toughie for me. I'm gonna go tie.
Still a tie then. All right, Jeremy, on a scale of Raiders of the Lost Ark to Dial of Destiny, where would you rank this one?
Um, let's see. In third place.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Okay, Ryan, on your warped scale, where would you rank it?
Indiana
Warp
Jones and the
scale.
Temple of Doom, third greatest movie of all time.
Okay. Yeah, it's the third best Indiana Jones movie. It used to be the worst, but now it's right in the middle. Congratulations, modern day Hollywood.
Screwing
Thanks,
everything up.
Disney.
Thanks, Kathleen Kennedy. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Tairimo Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, telling us how much this isn't a bad movie anymore. Don't forget to ring that bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.